Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode number 249. Larry is back.
And Anthony is here.
And I'm in here somehow. How did this happen?
Yeah, so I think Rich stayed on the Zoom call from last week and just because he didn't want to miss another episode.
I was like, where did you guys get, like, Anthony, where did you go? Next thing I know, Larry just shows up and I'm like, wait, what are you doing here? And then Anthony comes back in and I'm just like, okay, I guess this is a thing now.
Just walking through the house, not realizing, every now and again looking at the camera, like, why is that light on? I got to fix that.
Rich is trying to take over the podcast. That's what it is.
Insurrection.
Works for us.
Yeah. You know what? You can have my spot, Rich. You can have my spot next week.
I think me and Rich would have a blast.
I think you would.
But we have a rule about guests being on 3 weeks in a row.
That's very true. Yeah, it's not allowed. The squatters rules.
But for now, we got some great stuff to talk about. We have a big anniversary, North American anniversary we're going to talk about. But first, we are going to discuss I think, a lot of news coming out of the brand new Nintendo Direct that dropped just a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Wait, something dropped a couple of days ago?
Yep, yes. Did you pick it up?
Oh, no.
Well, maybe if you paid attention.
Yeah. Do you have YouTube?
What's a YouTube?
There you go. Luckily, the YouTube is... Oh, what I just do.
Do you have Xtube?
There we go.
That I have.
Careful of that. I've been there.
Boy.
So Nintendo dropped their Nintendo Direct, and as always, weeks and months leading up to a Direct, the internet is just blowing up with like, oh, Nintendo Direct, wonder what they're going to talk about. I know what they're going to talk about, and everyone's usually wrong, and we're happier for it. So we're going to get into the Direct, and we're going to hit on some key stuff that was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it, I think, was pretty wild, so I think why wait and kind of just get right into it.
Yep. Rich, you had a thought? Okay.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so they finally announced the Game Boy. What you're saying is that Nintendo finally announced that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are coming to Nintendo Direct.
So,
Nintendo
just
Online?
Nintendo Online, I'm sorry.
As the internet was guaranteeing that that was going to happen, Game Boy Advance kind of showed up, but not in the way that people were expecting. Actually, that showed up in a way everyone was expecting. So,
because there was a little bit of a leak last week.
So let's get into it. But I'm going to do it in order that I have it here, because otherwise I'm going to screw myself up. Just some games. So first and foremost, we're getting, which I don't think is the first one in the series, but I can't remember last. I think they probably did it on the N64. Kirby and the Forgotten Land will be released on the Switch in spring of 2022.
Yes.
We have Kirby fans in the house.
We have some. I like Kirby, and I can admit that I've never played a single game.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna count me into that one too. I've never played a single Kirby. I mean, I've done the NES mix where they have the little missions in there, but there were the snippets rather. But outside of that, Smash Brothers maybe.
Yeah.
I've definitely played Kirby. I mean, the Kirby, it was weird. I played the Game Boy games more often. I wasn't as crazy as the NES. But like the games on the 3DS and the Switch, I absolutely loved. They were great 2D side scrollers.
Kirby's got a lot of games.
Oh no, he's got an amazing number of games.
Yeah.
And so many different variations. Kirby Pinball, Kirby, I think it was a Kirby Tilt game or something like that.
Tilt and Tumble.
Yes.
I'm looking at the list right now.
Kirby's, he's cute, but he packs a punch. And
because he eats you.
That's why I like him, because look, he's just a round, hungry entity, much like myself, who just enjoys intake. So
yeah, but you also realize though he does get rid of it as well.
But
so does Anthony technically.
He gets rid of it. I get rid of it, but kind of like how Kirby takes a form of whatever he eats, I'm slowly turning into a hamburger. So I mean, it is what it is.
I don't know about a hamburger. Maybe a big meatball.
What? Fair enough. So Kirby and the Forgotten Land, basically again, an open, I think it's an open world if I looked at it properly, 3D platform game, kind of almost looks like New Donk City has like been taken over by nature. But it looks pretty cool. Like I said, Kirby really has not been a miss, in my opinion, on the Switch. So looking forward to that one.
Cool.
Bayonetta 3. I know a lot of people been waiting for this game. And this is finally coming out in, again, 2022. A lot of these games are coming out in. Anybody ever play the original Bayonetta or Bayonetta 2?
No.
Go ahead.
No, that's all I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. So a buddy of mine, he was a huge Bayonetta fan, loved the first and the second one. He used to tell us all the time that we need to play those and what have you. And I just, it was one of those things I never, like, there's so many other games like that I have just literally still sitting there. Anthony, you wouldn't know anything about that.
No.
The pile of games that you have to play that just collect.
No, I play everything I buy.
Exactly. So, but no, he would always tell me I need to play them, and I never did. I never sat down with it and gave it a shot. But everybody I know that's played it has loved it. So,
yeah, again, another you really can't miss on that one. Why do I keep trying to shrink my Zoom call and it keeps telling me no? The game that they opened up with, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which apparently looks like a brand new game, but they are considering it DLC.
What?
So, yeah, Sunbreak
Well,
is
the Monster
actually,
Hunter game, right?
Exactly. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak
Yeah.
is actually paid DLC expansion for the original Monster Hunter Rise game. I thought it was a completely new series entry, but it was not. So, gonna shell out some coins for that one. What else is
Very
Nintendo?
cool.
Splatoon 3, some mentions on
Nice.
that. Then we start to get into some of the other kind of not obscure, different types of games, though. The card game that they mentioned, Voice of Cards, the Isle Dragon Roars.
Yeah, that was really intriguing to me. Like I looked into that a little bit.
All right, I need to know what because this is news to me. So explain this to me real quick.
It's going to be hard because they really didn't get into much details of it, other than it's like a turn-based battles game, almost like a maybe not tactics, but it's a turn-based battle game. But the entire game is just a card-based system. The land is just cards. The battle are cards. Think Magic.
Yeah, that's what was going into my head. Yeah.
Yep. But it's from Square Enix, so you know it's going to rock. And there's like a jacked up Eeyore in the game, which for me works.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I don't know what that character is. It just looks like a jacked up Eeyore on human growth hormones.
I like to consider myself a jacked up Eeyore, so I'm in.
It's a fresh take on tabletop RPG, and it's coming out October 28th, which seems to be a red letter day in history.
Yeah, it definitely is. That I don't know why though.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out then.
Nothing big ever happened that day.
No, we got the Statue of Liberty that day from France.
Did we really?
Yes, we did.
That is quite interesting.
Yes.
That is a weird fun fact.
It is a fun fact. It's one I know because that date means something.
A slap to Nintendo's face by Square Enix going, you've had this Super Mario Kart thing in your pocket for way too long. We want to take it from you now. And Final Fantasy then spits on the grave of Super Mario Kart as they come out with Chocobo GP.
Well, they're not spitting on the Mario Kart grave. They're just taking what was successful in Mario Kart and making it their own.
But
That's all.
okay, but going with that, I mean, like, how many kart games can we have? I mean, like, there's the Nickelodeon karts. There's I'm trying to think of some of the
Diddy Kong Racing.
Diddy Kong Racing. There's the Garfield karts.
They did a Sega one at one point.
Yeah, it's like enough's enough, man. Like, I know you're trying to dip your toes into that pool, but do we really need I mean, I know the Final Fantasy people are going to be like, oh my God, that's great. I love this. But like, are you going to get anybody like somebody outside of a Final Fantasy person? Are they going to go and play it?
Well, first off, I'm disowning you, Rich. And second, the power of RPG players can basically power a console's success. So I think it just made sense. It was like it made sense for them to dip into this.
Rich, and I'd prefer your 100% honesty. Did you actually see the clips from Chocobo GP?
No.
Okay. So you know how successful Super Mario Brothers 2 was here in the United States?
Yes.
And all it was a reskinned Doki Doki Panic from Japan?
Yep.
Just imagine Chocobo GP being a reskinned Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was like, that looks like Peach's course. Those look like the question blocks that you get during the game.
Yep.
I mean, it looks like a complete. I'm not saying it's a rip. You can't really rip it off because the idea of a kart game is what it is.
Right.
But honestly, you pull out the Final Fantasy characters, you put in the Nintendo characters, and you got Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
like I said, works for me.
Listen, it sounds pretty good.
Yep.
A tactics style game since we're talking Final Fantasy, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics, and I played the demo of this earlier this year, and it was really, really cool. Game Triangle Strategy from Square Enix. Very like high def 16-bit graphics style tactics game, dropping March 4th, 2022.
Yeah, and I'm big on tactics games. You know, it's that Shining Force style that I like.
Yep. Very much, and it looks beautiful. When I don't know, did you play the demo, Ant? Did you?
No, I didn't play the demo.
It might even still be available.
I know it looks great.
If the demo's available, try it out. It's phenomenal.
Okay, cool.
So, and then we get into a lot of remake. Let's see. We have the remaster versus a remake. So I would consider these remasters or probably some HD upgrades.
Yeah.
Okay.
What we're about to talk about. First of all, a game I never played on the Super Nintendo. ActRaiser is coming back. ActRaiser
Really?
Renaissance.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Nope. Not kidding you.
Oh my God, that was such a fun game. Can I tell you, me and one of my buddies from high school, I remember playing that game for hours in his bedroom. And man, that was a fun one. So I'm kind of interested in that.
I'm glad you mentioned that you were playing video games. Just to be clear.
The weird combination of the fight, the brawl, not brawler, but the fighting side scrolling, what I'm trying to say, and then into RPG always kind of deterred me from the game because, not being a big RPG player. But now that I've played a lot of RPGs and I'm older now and I think I can deal with, sitting down and actually doing this, I'm actually quite interested in this version of ActRaiser.
Going back and rewinding almost 30 something years ago, I mean, it's probably been about since 1994, 95, since the last time I probably played that game. But I mean, back then, I remember it was a fun, like combining those two elements into it. And like I said, man, I had a blast. So I'm actually kind of interested in this.
Yeah, remastered in HD. And I believe it's available across all platforms.
Nice.
Some of these are not just Nintendo exclusive. Okay, Dying Light 2, Stay Human, the cloud version, is going to be dropping on the Switch.
Very cool.
February 4th, 2022, where on October 19th of this year, the original Dying Light Platinum Edition will be available on the Switch.
Yeah, my biggest issue with them really when they do this, Nintendo does this all the time, though. They always get games later than the other consoles. So like by the time they get them, unless unless you're just a Switch player, like people have played it already,
Yeah.
I mean, I never played Dying Light, so I don't know. I'll see. I might give it a
that's
shot.
you.
A game which I thought was a different game when they showed it. Deltarune. Chapter 2 is coming out. So I think it's one of these indie, fun indie games. Chapter 2 is coming out. It's actually a free download for those who played Deltarune before. They announced that there will be separate directs for Animal Crossing and and Smash Brothers Ultimate is going to be coming out.
Because the last character of Ultimate is going to be announced, I think, October 5th.
Yes, October 5, the absolute final DLC character for Super Smash Bros.
Luigi was the last one.
You know what? We might get him. They might have saved.
He's the only one who is not in it.
The best for last. And then the Animal Crossing New Horizon, I believe, drops. The direct will be in October. There's some free updates coming in November, but the direct for that's coming out in October as well. Animal Crossing hit perfect. I hate to say it, but I think the pandemic really helped Animal Crossing New Horizons because it got dropped as literally everything shut down. Yeah. So first of all, it helped out the digital sales because everyone's like, all right, well, I can't go out and get it, and no one knows what the mail's going to be like, so let's just download it. And since everyone was home, let's play some Animal Crossing. So in a weird way, get a positive in a major negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they made bank off of it, and to be honest with you, like the reviews have been, were phenomenal for it. So
totally,
so it earns its praise.
The Wave 2 DLC of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity will drop October 29th.
Yeah, when I heard that, it reminded me that I have to go buy it because I still don't have it.
Says the Zelda guy.
Well, but again, it's a different kind of game, though. It's not
It
like
is.
a traditional Zelda game.
Yeah.
I have the first one. The first one's fun. I didn't get into the second one because as much as Breath of the Wild sucks, I feel like let me not deal with
You are
Age of Calamity.
not allowed
But-
to say that.
I am, because I've been justified by a bunch of people who agree
You
with
were
me.
justified by like 2 people
That's all I need. That's my army.
versus like millions who love that game.
Whatever.
All right. Well, going back to Anthony for a second, with buying games that are outside of the traditional and doesn't really count. Well, we all know, I've been on here a number of times, Metroid is my thing. Listen, I own Other M. I beat Other M. And that game was a big steaming pile of turd.
Well, all I can say is congratulations to you.
I don't know. I'm just calling into question your fandom into Zelda here. I mean, a true fan would have that already by this point.
Yeah, well, a true fan, as busy as me, it would have just collected dust on a shelf.
You mean like all the other games?
Yes.
Ouch.
Hey, look,
There's a fight brewing here, folks.
I am willing to admit that I do not play everything I buy because I do not have the time. But one day, when I'm in the nursing home and there's nothing else to do and people are still waiting to get their PS5s, I will play all the games that I have in my collection.
When he gets
They'll
to
have their
finally play,
PS6s. They won't have their PS5s yet.
it'll be on the Switch Mini.
Yes, basically.
Real quick before I forget, Rich, because you mentioned Metroid, do you still have the physical versions of all those games?
So,
Well, let me
no.
rephrase that. Like
Yeah.
the NES, Super NES, and Game Boy.
Right. So, I still have my NES version of Metroid. I used to have the Super Metroid with actually complete in box.
Oh, sweet.
I sold it last summer, not this
Ooh.
summer, but the summer before.
Okay.
Mainly because of the fact it was, it's like you're in COVID. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. And I just started looking around and I was just like, well, I've got a lot of around here.
Nine
And I
wedge.
sold those. A lot of
It's all right. We'll cover it.
And I did the same thing with Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission. I had them still in the boxes. And I started selling a bunch of stuff.
Then never mind. There's a series of these books. Someone put out like these books that fit perfectly on a bookshelf, but in reality, they're video game cases. And they have one for Zelda, one for Metroid, and one for something else. And when you slide it open or open it like a book, like a coffee table book, there's spots to put the games in. So it's like
cool.
it doubles as storage, and you just keep
Yeah.
them on a bookshelf. Look pretty cool, but you ruined that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mario Kart Super Rush got some DLC, free DLC, 2 new playable characters, Koopa Troopa and Ninja,
Nice.
along with some other updates to the Mario Golf gaming series. Disco
Mario
Elysium.
Golf. You said Mario Kart.
Did I say kart?
Yes, you
Yeah.
did.
Oh, okay, Mario Golf.
I was about to say, wait, there's a new Mario Kart game.
Soon, maybe. Disco Elysium, the final cut, is coming to Switch. Never played that.
Nope.
But I heard good stuff about it. This I am excited for. Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Not the remake,
The
or the
original.
remaster or whatever. We're talking about the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Knights of the Old Republic. KOTOR, as my friend used to call it.
Yep.
Coming to Switch
Yeah.
later. Oh, actually, November 11th is when it drops. You can pre-order it
Yeah,
today.
and keep in mind, like they're doing a remake of Knights of the Old Republic, which means it's not going to be the same game.
Which
no,
I'm actually excited for.
Okay.
Because I played KOTOR when it first came out on the Xbox.
Mhm.
And I remember playing it and I was like, wow, this game is so much fun. But the one thing that used to drive me nuts was it was still very much that RPG where it was like you would just say, okay, go fight this person. And it would be literally the person standing in front of your character standing in front of one of the enemies. And you would see of 3 shots, 1 would hit. And that used to drive me crazy. So then Mass Effect a couple of years later comes out and I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what I was hoping for with Knights of the Old Republic, considering they were both BioWare.
Mhm.
And so when they announced the fact that they were remaking KOTOR, I was like, oh, please make it more like that Mass Effect type feel to it. because I'm gonna wait for that. I'm gonna skip over the edition that they're putting out on the Switch right now.
Fair enough. I mean,
Well,
the
remakes due out late though, right? Is it like late?
I don't
next
remember when
year?
the remake's coming out.
Yeah.
Plus, this is just like old school OG. Like,
Yeah.
if you remember, like, if you do enjoy it, I know what you're talking about because I actually still have Knights of the Old Republic, which is backwards compatible for the Xbox Series X. And I remember putting it in recently. I'm like, that's right. I forgot like the answer, the questions and answers, and determining if you're going to go light or dark. But I think this is good, like for those who might want both. Some people just like to get a taste of the old and a taste of the new. But we'll see. Either way, it's going to be available.
No, listen,
sweet.
It was either way. It's a great
totally,
game.
yeah. Totally. I'm going to skip around a little bit. I just want to throw these out there if people might have missed it. Just to mention, I don't have to get into it. Disney Magical World 2 Enhanced Edition, which is the 3DS version of the game, is coming to Switch. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming out. Rune Factory 5. Shadowrun Trilogy. Have you ever played the Shadowrun series?
I played the original Shadowrun on Super Nintendo, and I loved it. I
Okay.
never beat it, but I loved it. Unfortunately, it's not on the trilogy though.
No, these are like RPGs that came out
These are the
probably
later
within the
ones.
last 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the later ones, but the original one on the Super Nintendo, I loved.
They had a nice little sizzle reel for Hot Wheels Unleashed, Surviving the Aftermath, which is a post-apocalyptic future, and Wreckfest, which kind of feels like Burnout to me, which was awesome. Though. Burnout, the first Burnout was fantastic.
I love the Burnout series.
And then just to start wrapping up the direct, Hamster put out their arcade archives of Xevious and Pac-Man, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, fun.
Those are pure
That's all you.
pure arcade ports.
Nice.
Those are pretty cool. The castle, the worst kept secret in the last 3 weeks, the Castlevania Advance Collection is coming to consoles. And this I want to talk about real quick because it's got the 3 Game Boy Advance games, which are phenomenal. Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, and Area of Sorrow. But they're also going to include Dracula X.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a
Which
nice
is
touch.
interesting. And as we know, Dracula X is a version of Rondo of Blood that came out on Super Nintendo. It's not the same as Rondo of Blood,
No.
but it's different enough that it feels like its own game, but still very cool that they included it in this series.
Yeah,
Oh, is
it's
that-
not
'cause
reason to buy it.
I know Rondo of Blood was the prequel to Symphony of the Night.
Correct.
Yes.
So Dracula X, is that still kind of like fall into that? Or is it
I mean,
something totally different?
Canon wise, I'm not sure where it would lie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I guess it's just, I feel like Nintendo just didn't want to use the word blood in their title. So
Yeah.
they probably just wanted to go with Dracula X. I mean, that's just me saying that, so I don't know. But I would say Dracula X and Rondo of Blood are enough of the same. Someone will correct me. I know that.
Yeah,
But
I can think of the person.
nevertheless, still great game. Did you ever play the Game Boy Advance games, Rich?
I played Aria of Sorrow.
That
Yeah,
are fantastic.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I didn't play the other ones though. I never got
Yeah.
around to playing the other ones.
Funny enough, Aria of Sorrow I did not play. But Circle of the Moon, I definitely loved. I still have these games, so I'm actually debating whether or not, because with the Analog Pocket coming out in a couple of months, I got to see what's going to happen here, for me at least, for the Switch.
Yeah,
But those
well,
games...
I mean, if you have them already, it doesn't seem like. Plus, if you have Rondo of Blood in the Castlevania collection when it was released on PS4
Mhm.
and Xbox, you kind of already have them all then.
Well, I downloaded Dracula X on the Wii U like a year ago.
Oh,
So
so you're
I
set.
have that as well. Makes it easy. And then 2 more announcements, and then we're going to get into it because the next thing I want to talk about is, and no one was expecting this at all, but they dropped the cast for the upcoming, I'm looking at I don't even know what the official title is. Super Mario Brothers, the movie, the animated version of these 2 crazy plumbers coming out holiday of 2022.
Yes.
I think it's December 21st, 2022, only in theaters probably. And the cast has been dropped, and by gosh, what a cast.
Yeah.
So no other information was given, no trailers, nothing like that, but let's just run through the cast real quick. First and foremost, who I was not expecting at all to do this, Chris Pratt will be voicing Mario. Actually, you know what? Let me just run through the list and then we can kind of talk about it real quick.
Yep.
Chris Pratt, Mario, Charlie Day, Luigi, Anya Taylor-Joy, Princess Peach, Jack Black, Bowser, Seth Rogen, Donkey Kong, I can't get over that one. Keegan-Michael Keyes, Toad, Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong, which is going to be interesting because Kevin Michael Richardson, Kamek, Sebastian Maniscalco is Spike. And finally, thank God his name is in this list. I am happy. I get it why he's not Mario, but I'm just happy they're doing him justice in various, I guess, cameos. Charles Martinet.
Yes.
I think I got everybody on that one. Yeah. This is a hell of a lineup for this animated movie. Rich, I mean, when you saw this lineup, like, what do you think about it?
I was very shocked at some of the names. And I know starting with the elephant in the room of this is there's the big everybody flipping out over Chris Pratt being cast as Mario. And, at first I was like, Chris Pratt, I'm like, I don't like, that seems like a really terrible choice. But, and here's the thing that I would say, two things to this. The first one is, if everybody remembers when Heath Ledger got cast as the Joker, everybody was like, the cowboy, and like, it was like, no, this is going to be terrible. Everybody ate their words on that, including 100%,
me.
Yeah. And just going with that, with Chris Pratt, I mean, like, until my big hope is that he's not doing Chris Pratt's voice. Like, he's changing his voice. He's trying to do it to make it sound like a bit more like Mario. Mm-hmm. And until I hear anything, I'm going to reserve judgment on that. And did you see the thing he posted to his Twitter, the video?
I wanted to talk about that as well. I thought that was so genuine and sincere. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. You want to talk about it real quick?
I talk. You talk about it.
Okay. Ant, did you see what he posted on Twitter?
I did. I thought it was actually really cool because it was like you said, like a very genuine response of like how humbled he was that he's getting to play Mario because he loved playing Mario as a kid. And he talked about how he used to go play the arcade game and he stole a quarter out of like a wishing well so that he could play the arcade. And now he's like crediting the wishing well quarter as like his wish coming true now.
But the way it dawned on him, like it clicked in his head, like, I stole a wish from somebody.
Yeah.
Like, just that genuine feel. Also, I want to call him out. I'm going to try and tweet him. I'm going to be like, hey, there is what original Super Mario Brothers arcade? What are you talking about, sir? Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, no, he was very humble. Yes, who knows what this voice is going to sound like. And actually, to kind of go back and double up on what you were talking about, Rich, with Heath Ledger and the Joker, the other thing, even though it was decades apart, everyone's like, who's going to beat Jack Nicholson as the Joker?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going into this, I would have seen the movie with Charles Martinet as Mario. I would have. But that's me. But that over the top voice that he does, everyone's like,
just imagine that very high pitch in literally casual conversation for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You asked me that question before and I said, I'd take my money. But we can't compare Pratt to Charles Martinet, but I think Chris Pratt, and he's a genuine professional, he's going to do justice for the character.
I think so.
And really, all of them I can kind of see, though I did not see Anya Taylor-Joy. I never saw The Queen's Gambit. That's where she's from.
You're missing out.
Yeah, so I don't know what she sounds like.
I can see her doing a great job.
I was going to say, she was also in Split. Did you see M. Night Shyamalan's Split? Okay.
Have the Sixth Sense. I was done with M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, did you feel robbed at the end because you didn't see it coming?
I did not see that coming at all. And if anyone says otherwise, I call them a liar to their face.
No joke. I sat my younger sister down to watch that movie. Just a little side story. I sat my younger sister down to watch the movie, and my younger sister, God bless her, she knows this. She's not the sharpest tool in the drawer. She's not. She's not.
Wow.
No, but she admits it. She admits it all the time. 10 minutes into the movie, so he's dead. And I just look at her, and I'm like, "What? Yeah, he's dead. He's dead." And I'm like, "How? What? How? What? Why would you think that? Oh, because da, 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 da. And I'm like, I don't understand you. I don't get it. Literally, I'm just like, Yeah, it's one of those things.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the lineup again, strong lineup, and everyone, of course, in their heads are trying to figure out what everyone's going to sound like. Don't even bother. Let's wait till we get the trailer. We'll probably get a trailer. Maybe this. I'm guessing. This is me purely guessing. A year out. Armageddon. So that's
By
it.
the way,
yeah.
If I may, real quick,
go for it.
The one character, the one voice actor that I'm really looking forward to. I cannot wait to hear Jack Black's Bowser.
That's me too. I felt the same way when I saw the list. I was like, ooh, what's he going to do with that? Like, yeah. I'm just thinking what he could possibly do with that.
He's going to have so much fun in that role. I can't wait to hear it. I can't.
Forget that. What about a toked out Donkey Kong?
I think, well, forget about that. Fred Armisen, I think, is going to be hysterical.
So so here's what I was going to say. So when I saw that he's playing Cranky Kong, I was like, wow, where are they really going in this Nintendo universe? Because that Cranky Kong is really Donkey Kong Country. And as we all know, Cranky Kong is actually the original Donkey Kong from the original arcade. So like in my head now, trying to process what the story is going to be like, kind of curious now, like visioning that they either go to Donkey Kong Country or they visit or something. I don't know. But nevertheless, I'm really psyched about this. I'm glad we got the lineup. I was wondering when Mr. Miyamoto showed up in the direct, I'm like, did he get lost on set? What's going on here? Like, why is he there?
He's like, wait, are we announcing a new Mario game? Oh, no.
Basically. So be on the lookout. December 21st, 2022, Super Mario Brothers, the movie. Definitely looking forward to it. So. Yep. Very Absolutely. Cool stuff. And then finally, as we're going to talk about this here with the Direct, ladies and gentlemen, Nintendo's going to squeeze just a little bit more money out of your pocket. And quite frankly, I don't mind because what we're getting for it is well worth it.
So we're getting the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, right?
Absolutely not. I'm so happy the internet was wrong. I love when the internet is wrong. So Nintendo announced what's called the Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack. I like how they use that term, expansion pack. Basically, it's going to be a higher level or a new membership level that's going to be coming out late October. No one knows about pricing or anything yet, but you get some more perks if you pay this extra for it. Now, the two perks that they mentioned, though, are huge, and here we go. First of all, we are getting the Genesis Online collection.
Yes.
Much like the NES and the Super NES.
Very exciting.
The lineup for these, I'm just going to run through them real quick. Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hardcore, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, for our friends in Japan, it'll be Puyo Puyo. Echo the Dolphin, Golden Axe, Gunstar Hero, Musha, Phantasy Star 4, Rise Star, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, Sonic 2, Streets of Rage, Strider.
Streets of Rage 2.
No, this is, no, for the original.
Oh, I thought it was Streets of Rage 2.
Nope.
No, it is two. There is two. It is there too, as well.
Where? It's not listed here. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the graphic.
The box art has two.
You know, like the little image that they show.
Wow, I didn't even see that. I need glasses. Jesus, Murphy. All right. Well, also to be fair, the lineup I'm reading only says Streets of Rage.
Who's Jesus Murphy?
If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm going to say something real quick about this. So first thing is, so pandemic happens. Me, Jake, keep going. Trying. What's that?
From State Farm?
From State Farm. It's like we're trying to figure out like games, and obviously he loves the retro game. So, and then Anthony, I talked you into buying this too. Because then we started gaming online. We wound up going with the Sega Genesis Classics collection on the PS4, and if you remember. It lagged.
It was terrible. Terrible. The
games were unplayable.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Larry and I bought the collection with the intention of playing it as well, and we just couldn't.
Yeah.
Forget about that. I bought the collection. Actually, funny enough, I bought it originally on Xbox, but then I bought it on Switch because Switch had like Retrobit Gaming put out officially licensed Sega controllers, which worked with the Switch. But the input lag, forget about online lag. The input lag was made the games unplayable.
Yeah.
But I think this hopefully is going to be different and we'll fix a lot of that.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Hopefully. And then they announced that we will be getting Game Boy Online. No, we're not. We're going to get the N64 online library. Holy Hannah.
I'm assuming there will be no N64 Mini now because of this.
Probably not. This lineup is pretty wild. Here are the launch titles. Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi's Story, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Winback Covert Operations, Mario Tennis, Dr. Mario 64, Sin and Punishment.
Wait, so no GoldenEye, no Perfect Dark?
Third
Not
party.
well, yeah, that
Third
might be a little
party.
tough with Rare, but maybe not because future releases,
Yep.
they will be updating these. And don't worry, the Nintendo and Super Nintendo will still get updates. But future releases, they've already announced with no dates attached to them. Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, Mario Golf, Pokemon Snap, F-Zero X, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Paper Mario, Banjo-Kazooie. So maybe there might be some light at the end of the tunnel for Perfect Dark and for GoldenEye. We'll see. And in Japan,
You probably have better luck with Perfect Dark than GoldenEye because GoldenEye licensed
This is true.
from a film franchise.
and in Japan, Custom Robo and Custom Robo V2.
Nice.
Bottom
So wait,
line,
hold on.
Yeah.
So I don't hear any WWF 2000.
Third
I
party.
don't hear any Jet Force Gemini. I'm just saying, I don't know, man.
the third parties are going to be tough. Yes. But, I mean, look, Genesis, I mean, not on this list, but Genesis was able to get a lot of third parties for their mini.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe. There's always the possibility.
It's also it's their first release, so they're gonna naturally go with first party titles because obviously it's easier to do those. And then gauging the success of the premium, whatever they're gonna charge for it, then maybe they'll go out and start like acquiring some third party games.
Right.
They might,
They don't
and-
have the bank to do this.
No, they
Well, we'll
don't.
see.
They definitely don't.
We'll see how much this expansion pack is worth. They might
Yeah.
have the bank for it. And then, of course, with these online services, we're going to get controllers. So they announced Genesis and Nintendo 64 controllers for the Switch.
Yes, bring back the alien controller.
And in an interesting turn of events, much like the Mini did, the Genesis Mini, North America will be available to get the 3-button Genesis controller, but those in Japan will get the 6-button Genesis controller.
BS. I call it BS.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Neither do I. Though, with this Genesis lineup, it's so old, I kind of like the 3 buttons. You know,
don't need the 6.
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see what future releases are like. The 6 may not even be needed.
Well, the 6 may not be needed because a lot, like I'm trying to think of like 6-button games.
Street Fighter.
Well, right, but they can put that on the Super Nintendo Online,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they probably would do.
Yeah.
Actually, it already is, isn't it?
probably.
Yeah.
I think it is.
So-
Yeah.
But nevertheless, great lineups. Overall, really good. Actually talked about it a little more than I thought we would, but that's okay.
We did.
Um,
We went forever.
We did. But with the N64, though, perfect timing because the N64 actually celebrates its North American birthday this week, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that was going to be the focus of our show today, but we spent half of it on the direct because there was so
That's all
much.
right.
No,
It
there was
really
so,
was.
there was so much coming out of the direct.
It's
Yeah.
weird. Like when we talked about it before the show, I just figured we'd blow through it. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that we kind of, but good. No, that's good stuff.
No. And it's fine. And you know what? We just celebrated the GameCube anniversary last week. And now we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Nintendo 64. As this episode drops, it will be tomorrow, 25 years, September 29th, 1996.
Wow.
The Nintendo 64 console became available in North America, and it became property of me.
Yeah, I got mine shortly after launch. Rich, did you ever get yours?
So okay. So I know I'm going to catch some flack for the both of you
Oh,
for
boy.
this.
All right, I'm gonna punch him in the face.
Yeah, you're gonna. First of all, I never owned an N64.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh, get off the show.
Hold on.
Ooh,
In
yes.
fairness,
People got to tell me this before we get guests on.
listen. You just let people you just put out the link, and the next thing you know, anybody can join. I'm just saying.
Wasn't
I mean,
me.
like,
Well, I didn't. It's not my fault. He stayed on here for.
I was gonna say Anthony left it on, and I just stayed on. I mean, like, that's what happens, guys. No, I never owned one. One of my friends owned one, and I will say this: I never. I actually was never a big fan of the N64. I know. Yeah, hold on.
You're not the only one.
But to me, it was always like my friend had an N64. We would like every Friday night was like all of my buddies and I, we would get together at my one friend's apartment, and we would just play, like I was talking about, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Jet Force Gemini, WWF 2000. It's like we would just sit around. Another favorite one of ours was the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's like all those games, though, I always enjoyed more the multiplayer aspect of it. So it was always like, well, do I want to get one? So I would just go by my friends and I would play my friends.
No, it's true. The N64 to me was the first real social console, because it was built in to have 4-controller hookup, because they were making specifically 4-player games. So it really was set up for social interaction. And I think that's why I look back on it as probably I have the fondest memories with the N64 because of the social gaming that I did with it then.
Totally. I mean, before going to college, and I talked about this before, we did, I did a quick episode for just the general anniversary when it came out in Japan, but it was only me. So I'm happy to have some other people be able to bounce stuff off of and talk about it, especially with Anthony, because yes, me, you, and our group, I mean, we played the hell out of your N64.
Yes.
We were, kind of like what Rich said, all of us always went over to your house. Yes, we played WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, Mario Kart. And side note, with the Nintendo Online, all these 4-player games will be 4-player games online as well.
Which is great.
Absolutely.
Mario Party.
Basically, Mario Party, yeah, exactly. And then going to college and bringing the N64 and then having those social gatherings. I mentioned it when I did the solo episode. The N64, for me, probably has more personal memories. Not necessarily the games themselves. The games were great, but just things that happened in my life that I remember kind of, the N64 just happened to be there, so I equate it. And a lot of that, again, is going over Anthony's, playing at your house till God knows hours on end into the morning.
It's true.
And then going to college and just creating friends, because I hear, people like, hey, nerd, is that Squirtle? I'm like, yeah, but it's not a Pokemon game. Actually, it's a puzzle game, which is very addicting. Pokemon Puzzle League.
Yep.
The tournaments I would have in college. Thank God it wasn't a co-ed dorm. Actually, it was co-ed dorm, but the girls were all the way on the other side. Because you just hear like Squirtle, Pikachu, but we're playing, it's basically Tetris 2. And it was insanity. So that's why I have such a fondness for the N64 personally. Just so much personal memories. Getting the hole in my hand from Mario Party.
Yep.
And stuff like that. It's crazy. But to now kind of, let's maybe dip into a little bit of what the N64 was. I don't know if you have any stats on it, and I do, but if you have them, go for it.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump into too many stats. We just did a stat heavy GameCube, and we've done stats on the N64.
Fair enough.
So a lot of what I looked up were more along the lines of just like the fun facts kind of thing about it.
Let's run through it.
So really cool stuff. And then the other thing I also wanted to bring up, because I bought this book a long time ago, the Nintendo 64 Anthology.
Yes.
Which is an excellent book. It has every single game, all 400 plus games ever created on the N64 with like short bios. Which
if I may also to mention something that is great to put on just in the background or even maybe falling asleep, there is a YouTube page, which I will now look up because now I don't want to get it wrong. But it is a YouTube where the guy or the person put together, they're like 10-second clips, but literally for almost every system, every game made for the particular system.
I've seen those.
You just hit play. Literally, it's like 10, maybe 15-second clips, just one after another, and it's just, I mean, you literally can fall asleep to it. It's awesome. I'm gonna try and locate their name as we go through this, though. But Ann, what are some of the fun facts that you're able to pull up?
All right, so some cool stuff about the system was first off, before the system was released, the N64 went through a few different name changes. Do you remember the code name, Larry, for the N64?
Ultra 64?
No, that was almost the name of the 64. It was originally called Do you remember?
Revolution?
Before that too. No, Revolution might have been. Was Revolution GameCube or was it N64?
No, it's GameCube, but that was Dolphin.
Dolphin. That's right.
GameCube was Dolphin.
GameCube was Dolphin. The original code name for it was Project Reality.
Oh yes.
Project
I do remember
Reality.
that. Yes.
Eventually, it became the Ultra 64, and then became the Nintendo 64.
What an unoriginal name for a system. It's like the Retro Gamers podcast.
Yeah, it really is. It's just
It's so
Just
unoriginal.
lazy.
Look, you know what? We're generic and we know it. All right, moving on. So when the N64 came out, I thought this was kind of cool that there was such a demand for it when it came out. First off, it came out when it was released. It was cheaper than the PlayStation and the Saturn. So it was I think it was like $100 cheaper. And I want to say it was $199 at release, unless I'm wrong. Was it
maybe
more?
$299?
Was it $299?
I gotta imagine maybe $299. I'm trying to remember.
I didn't look up the numbers because we've done that before.
It was the first system I ever bought with my own money.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I did not do that.
Don't worry, I'm on this, so I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Look at that. We have a fact checker.
You can do that part. The N64 was in such high demand that several celebrities contacted Nintendo directly to try and get their hands on it.
Oh, I hate when people do that.
I know. But are you going to argue with people like Steven Spielberg? I'm not.
Mr. Spielberg.
Let's see. By December 31st, 2009, the N64 sold 32.93 million units. Surprisingly enough, only 5.5 million sold in Japan.
Wow. Interesting.
6.7 in other regions and 20.6 million sold in America.
Wow.
The
Okay.
US
Ready?
bought 2/3 of the N64.
Are we ready for the cost?
America's.
Why not?
Go for it.
All right. In the US, it was supposed to be launched at $250, but then it ultimately launched at $199.
That's
Oh, it
what
was
I thought.
$99.
We're
Okay.
correct.
That's what I thought.
Interesting.
hmm
Very
That's
interesting.
why it was $100 cheaper than the PlayStation.
There was no
and the
game in
Saturn.
it.
But
There was no game.
here's one of the questions. If memory serves me right, and this is one of the other reasons why I didn't go with the N64. If I remember right, the PlayStation and the Saturn games were like, I think they were like $50 at the time.
Mhm.
But if I remember right, I think the N64 games were like $70 or $80.
They were. There's a reason for that.
N64 games range from $60 to $80. Yeah, depending on the ones that you got. So it was $199, which made it very appealing because again, it was cheaper, even though you had to buy games separately. And speaking of separate games, good, Larry, you're gonna say
No, I was going to say, I remember that vividly because I bought the N64 at Toys R Us on Flatbush, but I had to wait 2 weeks to get a game because all the games were sold out.
that's right.
So
Oh.
I had the system sitting there with no games.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go too far because Rich made a really interesting point about how the games were more expensive. That was totally, and Aunt May was going to mention it, but I figure mention it now. Totally because of the cart system.
Yeah.
And the cartridges, they had their advantages, no load times. They were less susceptible to like
Piracy.
well, that too, but I was gonna say like damage. Like
Yeah,
you can handle,
scratching.
you can throw around
Yeah.
a cart pretty well. And Ant knows you can throw a controller really well too, and it still works.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But the cartridges, yeah, the physical medium costs more, and also, which I love this fact that there was only one company that you were able to buy the blank Nintendo cartridges from,
Yep.
and that was
God.
Nintendo.
Yep.
Nintendo was the only one that sold them. So.
Well, it's also one of the reasons why it didn't have a ton of third party on the N64.
There's actually another reason to that I just discovered, and I'm going to get this a little wrong, but apparently during the launch, like the announcement of the N64, I think it was maybe the president at the time of Nintendo said that they were purposely limiting the number of games because they wanted to focus on quality as opposed to quantity.
Yeah.
So that is why there were less than 400 games
They
released
were a
for the
little
N64.
over 400.
So going back to that, like one of the things, because once again, I was a PlayStation guy. I bought the PlayStation, and I actually let me backtrack. I was a Saturn. I ate that.
Sorry.
I bought that when they gave you the 3 free games, and I was like, "Oh, this is
Oh,
great.
3
This
free
system's
games,
gonna
yeah.
be amazing." Yeah, nothing's for free. Anyway,
Nope.
So very shortly after that, I bought the PlayStation, and I was playing that. But my like I said, I had that friend who really liked who had the N64. I had Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation. He had Resident Evil 2 for the N64. And there, I remember there was a huge difference, especially I remember in the sound.
Yes.
I was like, it was like cringeworthy if memory serves me right, for the Resident Evil 2.
You're exactly right.
N64.
A lot of games for cross platforms like that were released for everything, Nintendo suffered because Nintendo only had 64 bits, hence megabits, hence Nintendo 64, where the PlayStation had like 2 something, or maybe more than that, like 6 something was a CD could hold. Yep. So it was literally no room on the cart.
Yep. Cool.
So there you go.
Right. So there you go. Let's see. N64 was the first ever console to focus on full 3D graphics, and that they stuck with that.
It worked.
They were also the first. It was the first console to release a controller with an analog stick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've gone on record. The Nintendo 64 is my favorite controller of all time.
Right, because you have 3 hands.
No, it made total sense for first-person shooters. To hold that controller for GoldenEye, it was like having the gun in your hand. It worked perfectly. Little did we know that you could actually hook up 2 N64 controllers at GoldenEye and use a dual thumbstick, which was built into the game. But
Really?
Oh, you didn't know about that?
No.
This was like only discovered like a year ago or something like that, but it's been in the game the whole time. If you plug, I think you have to have a second controller plugged in, and then when you go to the menu screen, you can set it up for basically a dual analog stick control, and that's how you can play the game with. And I did it at Game On. It felt so much more comfortable and easier to play. It was wild.
Yeah. A couple other things. Well, a few other things, actually. N64 launched with only 2 games.
Yep.
You were only able to buy Super Mario 64 or Pilot Wings 64.
I was not able to buy them.
You were not. I was, because you were at Toys R Us while I was at the Wiz.
Who knew?
And I
got
the Wiz.
And I got everything at the Wiz. And I remember because like I was getting it as an early birthday gift. And I got the N64 and I was getting Mario and I was staring at Pilot Wings and I'm like, and then I was just like, but no, I just looked at it and I said, I was like, I wonder if I should grab it because it's probably going to sell out too. And so I did, and I'm on the buying boat. And I loved Pilot Wings. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Larry, all I'm saying is like Anthony had 2 games that he was playing. He can only play one at a time. And, type of friend he is, he didn't even lend you one of them to be able to use.
Key phrase, type of friend.
Yeah.
So
I believe in the importance of lesson learning. Larry had to learn a lesson.
I had to go with Toys R Us, who had previously screwed me over in the past. So I should have learned my lesson from that
See,
terrible Flatbush location.
These are just life lessons. That's all.
That's why they don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
This is true.
There was supposed to be a 3rd game on release that got delayed, and it was actually Mario Kart 64. That was supposed to come out at release. It was not done. They had to delay that. Now, if Mario Kart 64 came out, I never would have touched Pilot Wings. I just forgot about Mario Kart, of course. Let's see. There was a peripheral to the N64 that allowed you to go online, but only in Japan.
Only in Japan. So
Nintendo released eventually a disc drive, the 64 disc drive.
Yes,
which was supposed to allow players to connect via the internet to play games. Unfortunately, because of the delay to the disc drive, by the time it actually came out, the tech in it was out of date. So the company didn't support it. It didn't sell very well, so there was really no point in doing the online support. What was that?
You mentioned peripherals. Peripherals. Nintendo 64 had their fair share of cool attachments.
Yes.
Memory pack.
The memory pack. Oh yeah, the memory pack is one. The external memory pack, which was, I guess, predated. Well, no, couldn't predate PlayStation, but to be able to bring your N64 games memory cards with you, like the Creator Wrestlers, in the WWE games.
Yep.
We definitely swapped those out, me and
Oh,
you,
all
a
the
bunch
time.
of times. Yeah.
All the time.
The Rumble Pack, when the Rumble Pack eventually came out, that was a
Star Fox 64.
Yep. Literal game changer.
Mm-hmm.
For those games, and I never had a game that used these, but the transfer pack, where you can, from Game Boy games, you can move, like Pokemon took care of it, and a couple of the Mario sports games took advantage of that. It was some crazy, and then the stuff that we never got, like the biosensor that you hook up a piece to your ear and you would play Bio Tetris, and the game would speed up or slow down depending on your heart rate.
Oh wow!
Yep.
My game would have exploded.
Way to give your players a heart attack.
So yeah, no, it had some really cool lineups for add-ons.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. A few other things here. Let's see. What was I going to say? I talked about how earlier it only sold about 5.5 million consoles in Japan. The reason behind that, or at least the estimation behind that, was because N64 lacked RPG games, and RPG games are huge in Japan, which is the reason why they don't think it sold that well there.
And was it 1997? You had Final Fantasy came out,
which
Final
could not
Fantasy
fit. Could not fit on a cartridge.
It couldn't fit on what? It was how many discs?
I think it was 3.
The max was 4.
I think it was
Final Fantasy 9.
3 discs for 7, and I think 4 discs for 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And it's like you have that came out right afterwards, and of course, I mean, we remember it. Like everybody was playing that game except for me, apparently.
Yes, and Larry
and me. I didn't play it.
Yeah.
All right, Larry, we got something going.
I played that game nonstop. I was so engrossed in that game. One of the best games I've ever played. But yeah, stuff like that, like games like that, could not come out on the N64 because of the cartridge-based system. It was also the last cartridge-based system to come out. Nowadays, I mean, you could argue that the Switch might be one, but it's really an SD card type of situation.
I consider that a cartridge, quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that, but really it was the good old school kind of cartridge. It was the end of that. Interesting thing that we've brought this up before too. Once at the end of World War II, going back in time a little bit.
When was World War II?
Wait, when did this podcast become a history lesson here?
Well, since we've been around since then, roughly.
We're going to talk about war bonds.
No, but this is just an interesting note. South Korea, after World War II, banned all Japanese cultural imports. So the N64 was banned from the country, and because it was banned, the South Korean company Hyundai, however you want to say it, actually created the N64 to release in South Korea, and it is known in South Korea as the Comboy 64.
Interesting.
Yep, that's how they got their N64. Let's see what else. N64 was originally supposed to be earlier than 96, but it got delayed. But again, that's one of the reasons why they released it at $199, because they wanted it to be competitive with the Saturn and PlayStation, which had come out the year before. Let's see. Got that. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, one of my favorite games of all time, was almost a first-person game.
Ooh,
what?
That would have been weird.
So in an interview, one of the game development designers said that Shigeru Miyamoto toyed with the idea early on where you would have been first person walking around on the screen, but then when an enemy appeared, it would switch, and then you would see Link battle the enemy from a side perspective. It almost seems like a pseudo RPG.
Yeah.
A little bit like that. So needless to say, very happy they didn't go that direction, because the 3D version, obviously iconic. Legend of Zelda Ocarina.
Can you imagine riding on Epona, in first person?
And you just see the head of the horse in front of you. There you go.
This.
Yes. Oh.
I just vomited.
That's a bouncy meatball.
How dare you? Wow.
Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time also has for N64 has the credit, or I'm trying to think of the word to say, of being the highest rated video game of all time per Metacritic. The average rating for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, 99 out of 100.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's hard to argue what the best game is of all time if you are doing it through Metacritic. It's clearly Ocarina of Time. Let's see. What else did we have? GoldenEye, 007 GoldenEye. Everybody knows that game. It's synonymous with the N64, and the multiplayer version was created by a team of 9 people. Only 9 people made that game. And the multiplayer was stuck on it a month before release.
That I remember hearing.
Yeah,
about.
so much so that Nintendo didn't even realize it was in there.
Because I don't think they wanted it.
They didn't want it.
Yeah.
The team just stuck it in there, and it came out at launch. And obviously, one of the most memorable things about GoldenEye. One other funny thing about GoldenEye is that at the end of GoldenEye, Shigeru Miyamoto originally wanted everybody to shake hands because, again, N64, not all about being family friendly, wanted to avoid violence type of thing. So he suggested after the main missions were over, players should be able to shake hands with all their enemies in the hospital.
Oh, Miyamoto. He tried.
Clearly, yeah. So sorry we tried killing you, but let's kiss and make up.
All right, going back to GoldenEye for the multiplayer on that. My buddies and I, what we used to do is we used to love setting it where the only weapons you would have were pistols, and but we set it up so it was one-shot kills.
The golden gun. Yeah.
And it was the board. I think it was I don't remember the name. I think it might have been called the Stack, but it was like green walls and I think like white floors, and it was 2 levels.
I think I remember. Was that more like a prison? No, prison was something different. It might have been like a prison, but I know of the level you're talking about.
And man, all I could tell you is that like I don't think we ever went to any other level in the game. We just we tried it on other levels. It just never worked for us. And we would spend hours upon hours playing just that one way with the one-shot kills. And if you didn't have a gun, you were not allowed to shoot the person had to announce, I didn't have a gun. So you could not kill the person until they got a gun. So you could follow them.
It's funny you say that. We played prison rules. Didn't matter if you had a gun or not. If you were unarmed, too bad. We called it prison rules.
Of course you did.
In college, we did that. But no, I remember making the tweaks to the games. I remember one of the characters we were not allowed to choose. Like in our own group. Not Odd Job. Who played Tattoo? Wasn't Tattoo a villain in a 007 game?
Oh, because he was shorter.
Yes. From Fantasy Island. Tattoo from Fantasy Island.
Yes.
I think he played a villain, and he was a selectable character, but because he was a little guy, he actually had an advantage because, you couldn't really aim forward. You had to aim down. And we're like, no one pick him. No one picks Tattoo.
Forgot about that.
I think so.
That's awesome.
So good memories on that one. Before I forget, I know we have a couple of things real quick. Before I forget, I was talking about that YouTube page, Virtual Gaming Library. Check it out. Like some of the stuff is like 10 hours long, but it just every game for the system is a very, like I said, you're doing it, if you're exercising, if you're working on something, you're falling asleep, put it on TV and let it run.
Very cool. A few other things. Donkey Kong 64, amazing, absolutely amazing game. We've talked about this before on the show too, but it just holds the record for having the highest number of collectibles in a game.
Yes.
There are 3,821 unique collectibles that you can collect in that game.
I don't know why, but there are.
Makes me want to go back and do it now.
Honestly.
We mentioned the Rumble Pack. Let's see what else we have. Pokemon Snap, the picture, capture your Pokemon by picture type of game. Actually originally started as a 64 disk drive title. And then when the 64 disk drive, they decided not to release it, it became a regular cartridge game. Also, there was a lot of negative reception to it because the original Pokemon collection had 151 Pokemon, but because of the limitations of the cartridge, they had only squeezed in 63 Pokemon in the game.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Unfortunately.
I gotta just and kind of give you just a quick break. Some of the canceled N64 games.
Please share.
Just gonna name just a few of them, and some of which you can see why they were canceled because they ended up on the GameCube. The original Diablo was heading for the N64.
Yeah, I couldn't see you handling that.
Yeah, that would have been a tough one. Die Hard 64, Driver 64, but that Driver series did better on PlayStation anyway.
Yep.
Eternal Darkness was supposed to be on N64.
Wow.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
Final Round 64, which I think became a boxing game somewhere else. Fire Emblem 64. They were going to release Golgo 13. God, I hated that Nintendo game.
Oh,
the
I
game was
remember that
horrible.
game.
Terrible.
Grabbed by the Ghoulies ended up on next gen at that point. I'm trying to think of one of those. Cameo, Elements of Power. I think that's a rare game.
Yeah,
that
that
was
game that eventually went on the 360.
Kirby's Air Ride that ended up on the
Oh,
GameCube, I
nice.
think.
Okay.
Luigi's Mansion originally meant for the
Wow.
N64.
That makes sense. I could have seen that on the N64.
Poor Rich missed out on Metroid 64.
Oh,
They were planning a Mario Paint 64 for the disk drive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mother 3, Onimusha, Pac-Man World, I'm going in alphabetical order here. South Park 2, Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro. Imagine that.
yeah.
Well, the
Because
first one. The
The
first,
first one
on
was.
there. Yep.
First one was. I
The
might have
first one was
had it.
great. The second
might
one
have-
was terrible.
Yes.
I might have had Spider-Man on N64 and only later got it. No, I didn't. No, I always had it on PlayStation. Never mind. And then Tomb Raider, they were looking to get on the N64.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, amongst others, X-Men Mutant Academy was going to head for the N64. So just to name a few canceled games.
All right, cool. And since we're talking about games, the last game made for the N64 in 2002, a year after PlayStation 2 and GameCube came out.
Mhm.
Last game to come out on the N64, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Interesting.
Oh wait, on the N64?
Yep.
Wow.
It was released on April 20th, 10 days before before Nintendo officially discontinued the N64.
Good timing.
Came out, and 10 days later, they're like, that's it. We're done. Thank you, Tony
Closing
Hawk.
up shop. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay
Yeah,
here.
Tony Hawk, you killed it. Goodbye.
Oh, man.
And then outside of that, the best-selling games on the N64, top 10,
Okay.
just to fly through them.
Yep.
And I'll go backwards. Number 10, Banjo-Kazooie, 3.65 million units. Number 9, that's Star Fox 64, 4 million units. Number 8, Diddy Kong Racing, 4.88 million
Interesting.
units. Number 7, Donkey Kong 64 with 5.27 million units. Number 6, Pokemon Stadium, 5.46 million units. Number 5, Super Smash Brothers, 5.55 million units. Number 4, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, 7.6 million units. GoldenEye is number 3 with 8.1 million units.
Wow.
And the top 2, no surprise at all, Mario Kart 64, 9.87 units. And finally, Super Mario 64 at number 1 with 11.9 million units sold.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Heck of a system.
I'm
Heck of a system.
done talking about it. But I do want to, it makes me want to play it. It always makes me want to play it, but I want to play it with 3 other people here. You know what I mean? Like, that's when I want to break out that system where it's like, have 3 people here, let's play the multiplayer games, which is why the premium on the Nintendo Switch is definitely going to be something I get just for the sake of doing that.
Well,
I
you
was
get the
gonna say,
controller.
well, you listen, we all
Yes.
get premium. You got 3, you got 2 more out of the 3 that you needed. So
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's just one of those things. It's a nostalgia trip. It's like going back to that, it's reliving our youth a little bit because we're all old.
and by
That
the
we
way,
are.
you know that Jake from State Farm is going to be on. So I mean, he's going to get it.
Jake from State Farm will be on. I have other friends who have Switches, and I'm sure that they'll sign up for it too and play. So it will be awesome.
Little do we know it's $100 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
So there you have it, folks. The Nintendo 64. Please, definitely, and I know there's some other people out there who weren't crazy about it, but this system definitely was one of Nintendo's better ones, even if it maybe some people think otherwise. It didn't have a large library. It had its complications. But quite frankly, when you have the list of first-party games like the N64 had, you can survive on that alone, and it did.
And it did.
So happy
Well,
birthday. Yeah.
One more thing, real quick, going with that. Nintendo, I think, really started with the N64 there, where it was like, we're not going to go for power. We're going to go more for the fun. I think that's where we really started to see that
Mhm.
kind of starting to come out. And, it's funny because it's still been their mantra to this day. I mean, like even the Switch, you compare it to what's the PS5 and actually, no, hold on. Let's go PS4 and the Xbox One, since that's more
Mhm.
its generation.
Yeah.
But even still, it's like comparatively, it's not, you can't even like compare the power of the 2 units or the 3 units, but it's the games that are on there are just fun. They're a ton of fun.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Quantity over quality.
Quality
No,
over
quality over quantity.
Okay.
So-
Gee, Larry, you can't even get that right.
We're live, pal.
Yes, we are.
So, so with that, folks, again, let us know your favorite N64 games, your favorite N64 memories, anything like that. Did you get into a fight with someone at Toys R Us on Flatbush Avenue about the N64? Because I probably did that day as well. But with that,
or did you go to a different store and get everything that you wanted?
story of my life. Let's start wrapping this up. Ant, where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/Retro Gamers Podcast, on Instagram @Retro Gamers Podcast, on Twitter @Retro Gamers Pod. You can watch us on YouTube and IGTV and listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
Rich, thank you very much, first of all, for last week.
Yeah.
Thank you for this week. And do you have anything? Do you promote anything? Do you do anything? Do you?
No.
All I'm going
You
to say
travel?
is, like, is this link going to stay open? Because I mean, if so, I'll stay on, and I'll be back again next week. Or, if you guys really don't want me, obviously you can close the link. I understand it.
I mean, it's up to I guess. Actually, you know what? I was gonna say a joke, but it almost became tasteless, so I apologize. So
I was actually planning on blocking Rich's name from my Zoom.
I don't blame you.
Apparently,
I don't
it's not
blame
his
you.
name on the Zoom, so it don't matter.
Yeah, I know he's being sneaky today.
Yep.
Rich, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich.
Who knows? Maybe you'll pop up next week. We'll see.
Or maybe me and Jake will form a
Maybe.
correction.
Yes.
But Rich, again, thank you very much for joining us.
Always glad to be here, guys. Thanks.
Ant, always fun talking with this.
Always
Good
a blast.
stuff.
Have a good week.
Folks, we will catch you everywhere next week, maybe some of us, on the Retro Gamers Podcast.